Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Great People TV with me and my ever so smiley, happy host, Hana. Nah, apa khabar? Why are you so happy?
Baik, Alhamdulillah. Sebenarnya hari ini saya sangat-sangat excited sebab kita ada tamu yang sangat-sangat istimewa di Great People TV. Tapi sebelum itu, saya nak ajak anda semua, jangan lupa untuk like, share dan juga subscribe kami di Great People TV on Facebook. Jangan lupa, itu yang paling penting sekali.
Right, you've been told by Miss Hannah, everyone. And don't forget, thank you to our sponsor and congratulations to our sponsor, AccuAnswer. They have been shortlisted for the Malaysia Top E-commerce Merchant Awards 2021. Congratulations are in order. So well done, as they say.
Yep, tanya dan juga pada hujung show nanti kita akan ajukan beberapa pertanyaan daripada kita punya interview dengan YB kita nanti. Jadi anda kena stay tune untuk anda menangi hadiah yang disponsor oleh AQ Answer. Okay,
And
jangan lupa.
don't forget, like I said, we are giving away a prize, so stick around and stand a chance to win an AccuAnswer ISO 4-in-1 multifunctional blood glucose meter. It helps keep you healthy, and as they say, health is wealth. All right. So without further ado, thank you, AccuAnswer, by the way, for sponsoring us once again. But without further ado, today on Great People TV, or tonight on Great People TV, we have two Hanas. Hana Ismail, my co-host, but most importantly, no offense, Hana Ismail, YB Hana Yeoh is our guest for Great People TV today. So to avoid confusion, I'm going to refer to Hana Yeoh as YB. So YB, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Ben and Hannah, for having me.
Terima kasih YB sebab hadir bersama dengan kami di Great People TV. Kali terakhir saya jumpa YB adalah ketika waktu perkahwinan sahabat saya, Adriana Adnan. YB sempat singgah untuk kata orang memeriahkan lagi majlis. Terima kasih banyak YB.
Sama-sama.
So YB, thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us here tonight. But let's just roll back the years a little bit, because this interview is about, or this episode is about, being an agent of change. And a lot of people see you as a powerful, confident woman who is confident to make changes, whether it's conventional or unconventional or traditional or non-traditional, in our lovely country, Malaysia. But before we go there, can you tell us that how you first got into politics? You studied a law degree, and then you didn't go into law, you went into the political line. So tell us about that journey and how that all started.
Thanks, Ben. I have a law degree and I practiced law for 3 years in PJ. And then I went into event management for 2 years before I actually entered politics. So I take you back to the year 2007. That was before the 2008 general elections, and at that time many people didn't want to be part of politics because they say politics corrupt, politics too difficult, politics no place for the young. And so when I was given the opportunity to stand for election for my hometown, and at that time in 2008, people always look at, opposition can have big gatherings at their charamas, but it's hardly translated into votes on polling day. And so even though we were seeing all those huge crowd at our rallies, we were still very skeptical about our chances of actually winning. So, I actually took unpaid leave for 2 weeks to campaign from my event management company at the time, not thinking that I was going to win. And that was probably why I think a lot of seats were given to young reps to contest, because, hey, you're not going to win anyway, just give it a go. And surprisingly, 5 states changed hands in 2008, and that's how I actually got involved in politics. But really, I joined politics because I want to fight for two things, and it's still relevant today. I want to make a stand about corruption, because I feel that Malaysia is actually a very rich country with natural resources, and we have really really rich diversity in people, and these are all plus points for tourism, for how to make a nation great. But because of mismanagement, because of abuse of power, all these resources are gone into somebody else's pocket. And so that's why I wanted to join politics. The other two is, of course, to fight for multiracial Malaysia. Like I really don't like racial discrimination.
No, we don't like it either, and that's a very nice story. But before we go further into the politics and the details, tell us about okay, you made a positive change in 2008. I remember I was at a wedding that night, and I felt sorry for my friend's wedding that everybody was screaming out the election results rather than actually being happy for the lovely couple, Amy and Judge, getting actually married. So what an election and marriage that was, and I was the dulang man for his wedding. But in terms of the change, the positive change of the election, when you went into politics, what did your parents say? What did your friends say? I mean, what did the naysayers say about, can a woman in politics bring change?
In 2008, February was the nomination day, March was the polling day. January, just 2 months before polling day, I got married. And so I was a newlywed. And, the first person I was more concerned about was my husband, not so much about what my parents would think, because how would my husband release me to do this, being
Yeah.
newly married? And at the
Mm.
time when we were running the elections, I still remember we rented a house in USJ 6. I had one room with all the wedding presents still in boxes. I just didn't have time to unpack them because after wedding, you go for honeymoon, you come back, you went back to work, and then you are asked to run for election. And so that my life at that time was quite chaotic, trying to figure out this new season of becoming a wife, and also, then embracing this new role. I think the campaign time was difficult, but winning the election was more challenging for me.
Mhm.
I didn't have any objection from my parents or my in-laws. Both sets of parents were very, very supportive. I think they recognized the fact that it was the right time to do something for Malaysia. And I remember at that time, all the rallies were recording very high number of participation from the people, and so it was definitely a win of change that my family also embraced. But for me, the struggle came after winning the election, because then I realized this is a job that I cannot just tender my resignation. If I don't like it, I can't say I'm going to try out 3 months as Adun Subangjaya. If I don't like it, I'm going to tender my resignation. You cannot do that because it would
Mm.
spark a by-election, and your mom cannot go market anymore. I cannot go to the kopitiam anymore because people would throw eggs at us if we spark a by-election.
Yeah.
And so it was really about preparing my mind and my
Mm.
heart to follow the decision of the election. So, campaign time, 2 weeks, you're excited, you're stressed. So you don't think much about winning. But right after winning, then it sinks in, 5 years. This is going to be 5 years. And the
Mm.
real work starts now. And every weekend you're out there working. And I was 29 years old.
Wow.
And people 29 don't do stuff like that. I remember at one point, I'll be honest with you, Ben and Hannah, I actually got a bit bitter within me because
Mm.
I felt, my friends were chilling on Friday night, but I had to sleep early because Saturday morning I had gotong royong. And this went on for 5 years. It's not like, 10
It's
days,
not
or it's
easy.
not
Yeah.
duration of a conference, but it really became a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Satu
before I
komitmen yang cukup besar
Yeah, before I hand it over to Hannah, the host, just one question since you brought it up. Your husband, I've met him before, and if I'm being very, very judgmental in a very positive way, he seems like a super nice guy, very chill, very relaxed, very smiley. I mean, the type of person that you want in your life, especially if you're doing your line of work. Tell us about your husband in terms of the support that he gives you, and because you always need that person behind you saying, it's like you said, oh, I cannot go out on Friday night, lah. I cannot go out on Saturday night. You need a voice in your head saying, outside your head saying, hey, it's okay. Look at the bigger picture, the change that you're trying to bring, multi-racial Malaysia and a Malaysia that is not corrupt.
One thing I'm very thankful for in year 2008, we made the decision to join politics together. So it was a joint decision. It was not, my great idea, I want to join, and then I'm trying to get my spouse to follow. So I'm thankful for that because it's a commitment that is required, not just from me, but my husband. And of course, now even my children have to pay the price of not having their mom around on certain days. And so because it was a joint decision, so it's easier, I think, to share the burden and to share the load. I definitely would say for every woman who wants to be in politics, if you're single, it's fine. You can decide on your own. But really, once you're married and you have kids, I'm not saying that married women cannot decide on your own, but we all know that marriage is really a union of two-person,
Yeah.
and you have to give and take. There are tough seasons, there are easy seasons, and so I wouldn't like it if my husband is out all the time. And the same thing, you would want to give the same respect to your spouse. And so because of that joint decision entering politics, there's now a common understanding of what this work would require. Kadang-kadang sampai like parliament for example, kalau parlimen bersidang, lambat balik rumah kan, kalau
Hmm,
suami tak memahami, susah juga. Anak tak ada
betul.
makanan, macam mana kan, kita kena
Ya.
struktur sokongan itu sangat penting untuk wanita yang bekerja.
Nice, nice.
Betul, dan saya rasa memang bukan mudah sebenarnya sebagai seorang ibu, seorang isteri, lagilah representatif kepada rakyat untuk berkhidmat kan. Okey, YB, saya melihat YB sebagai seorang sosok yang sangat lantang di parlimen maupun di luar parlimen. YB Nurul Izzah kan. Saya pernah tanya soalan yang sama kepada Tan Sri Rafidah. Bagaimana pandangan YB tentang partisipasi wanita dalam parlimen? So YB, Tan Sri Rafidah cakap, dia kata, kalau ramai pun sekalipun tapi suara mereka tak didengari, tak dihormati, tak ada gunanya. Pandangan YB pula macam mana?
Saya setuju dengan apa yang Tan Sri Rafidah katakan, kerana partisipasi ataupun participation in politics ini bukan sekadar nombor ataupun we don't form just the number. Kalau kita lihat di parlimen sekarang, kita ada 222 kerusi dan 33 kerusi dimenangi oleh golongan wanita, hanya 14% sahaja. Tetapi walaupun kita kecil 14%, tapi suara kita agak kuat juga dalam parlimen sekarang kerana kita ada ahli-ahli parlimen pembangkang yang bangun selalu bersuara, dan dengan adanya social media, pengikut-pengikut kita, kawan-kawan kita boleh mengikuti perbahasan kita lah. Jadi kalau kita lihat sekarang ini berbanding tahun 2008, betul, lebih ramai lagi wanita sudah mula masuk politik, tetapi masih tak mencukupi. Jadi untuk kita pasti kita cukupkan nombor ini, at least 30%, kita kena pastikan kita parti-parti politik bagi peluang kepada golongan wanita untuk memimpin, dan juga saya rasa apa yang Tan Sri Rafidah kata itu ada meritnya. Bermaksud kalau tak guna, kalau kita ada semua banyak menteri wanita ataupun golongan wanita dalam kabinet, tapi kalau mereka tak bersuara untuk isu-isu yang penting, tak guna juga. Jadi
Betul.
kedua-dua perbahasan ini, saya rasa pandangan ini valid, okay, dan kita saya rasa sekarang adalah satu permulaan yang baik, tapi masih tak mencukupi. Kita perlukan lebih ramai lagi yang boleh mempunyai kuasa eksekutif. Bermaksud bukan sahaja masuk gelanggang, tapi mereka mesti diberikan kuasa, diberikan peluang untuk membuat keputusan. Decision makers.
Saya setuju. YB, saya tanya sebab apa? Sekarang ni kita kan dah boleh akses perdebatan di parlimen. Dan not to be, kata orang berat sebelah kepada janda wanita. Tapi kalau kita nampak kan, cara perdebatan kaum lelaki dalam parlimen ni can be quite crass and appalling tau. Memang saya rasa macam, okey lah, senang cerita memang macam monyet lah dekat dalam zoo lah kan. Okey, pandangan YB kan, apa pandangan YB tentang benda ni? Dan saya rasa sebenarnya satu contoh yang kurang baik sebenarnya untuk kita tontonan umum untuk melihat cara perdebatan dilaksanakan di Dewan yang serba mulia itu.
Okey, begini, kalau kita ada 222 wakil rakyat masuk parlimen dan kalau mereka tak diberikan masa yang mencukupi untuk membangkitkan isu-isu, dan mereka kena balik kawasan jawab kepada pengundi mereka, kenapa masa banjir kamu tak ada, kamu pergi Kuala Lumpur, kamu di parlimen. Jadi untuk pastikan suara mereka didengari, mereka kena cakap kuat sikit. Kalau mikrofon mereka ditutup oleh speaker dan mereka tak boleh bersuara, mereka kena jerit kuat sikit lah, supaya kan ada live telecast. Kalau mereka duduk diam saja, orang rasa mereka tak menjalankan tanggungjawab mereka. Itu sebab saya rasa bila orang yang tengok berita juga, selalunya berita akan report apa yang telah berlaku. Dia tak, kalau Dewan bersidang 8 jam, dia selalunya akan cover isu hangat, isu 5 minit masa mereka gaduh tu. Jadi bila orang yang baca berita tu, setiap hari dia tengok yang 5 minit orang yang gaduh, dia akan ingat dalam parlimen ini setiap hari orang gaduh. So sebenarnya bukanlah 8 jam berbahas, 5 minit gaduh, tapi yang disensasikan 5 minit gaduh. Itu sebab saya rasa sangat penting kalau bolehlah. Sekarang sudah ada lebih ramai lagi yang mengikuti persidangan parlimen. Dia buat telecast live kan, sambil buat kerja work from home, dia akan dengar debate kat parlimen lah. Jadi sangat penting saya rasa untuk wakil rakyat mempunyai platform media sosial mereka sendiri untuk wawarkan ucapan mereka dalam parlimen. Jadi kalau penduduk pengikut tak dapat ikuti, kita boleh buat video 5 minit supaya orang tahu apa isu yang telah kita ketengahkan di parlimen.
Okay, baik. Terima kasih YB di atas jawapan itu. Ben, I'm over to you lah, Ben.
Okay. No, you've given us a lot of light into that answer, YB, because a lot of people always ask, how can such, like VIP people of our society behave like that? It's like I said just now, drama and like a zoo, but it is what it is. And Malaysia is not the only country there. So thanks for giving some light to that. But let's just roll back the years a little bit, 2018 to 2020. I remember when your party won, a lot of people were very, very happy because finally there's some change. Finally, like you said, I mean, the thing that was high on the agenda of the people was like they want a clean. We want a clean society. So God bless. I mean, a lot of people happy that you came in, but the joy was unfortunately a little bit short lived. No disrespect. 2018 to 2020, and we saw a lot of blueprints. We saw a lot of strategic plans. Great documents, great papers, but somehow there was a lack of perceived operations. Now it's very easy for us citizens or people in society to judge, but like I always say to our guests, tell us what we don't know. What
Yep.
did happen? What didn't happen?
Thanks for asking that question. I think in our 22 months in Putrajaya, it was a very brief time for us to enter because we didn't come from a place where, it's a continuation. It was a brand new government. So when we enter, you have to do audit, you have to check, what was before, understanding the portfolio and then making new plans and then executing those plans. And so for me, I can only speak for my portfolio.
Yes.
We were in charge of human social issues, and social issues and cultural issues, you don't change it overnight. It's not that easy as today I'm going to change it, I'm going to do it instantly. And so we took time to explore and look at the problem. So I just give you one specific example. On my first week of work as the deputy minister, I was informed of the case. They found the body of a toddler in the refrigerator of the nanny. And I remember going straight to the mortuary, and I remember looking at the case, and I asked about the circumstances surrounding that case, and I discovered that the mother is actually a nurse in the government hospital. And that question came, why didn't the government provide basic infrastructure like childcare facilities to our own nurses working so hard in a government hospital? Where is the process? Where is the facility? And so we immediately did an audit. We asked all the government agencies. We took out all the old circulars, and I found in 1980s there was already a circular to say every government agency should have childcare facility for our staff, for our own frontliners, our own public servants. But this was not done. Today is 2021. And so when we audited, we found 500 government agencies still didn't have childcare facilities. And so then we have to start planning 2019, make sure there's a grant to set up childcare facilities. And so when you have 10 million, that was approved, we then had to roll out 66 out of 500 for a start. Okay, and then all that planning, you took time to go and understand the situation, visited the different states, and then finding out, okay, frontliners, even simple things like childcare, we have to answer, we have to find out why most people don't send kids to registered childcare. Why do they send to the nanny down the street? Simply because affordability is an issue, and very strict guidelines imposed on people who look after children below 2 years old. So if our own civil servants are struggling with minimum wage issue, they are not going to be able to send two of their kids to a registered childcare. But the nanny down the road who can take in your kids, two kids, overnight also can, 200 ringgit cheap, never mind. They are going to grab that because it's about survival every month, right? So we have all these issues, and that's just one. The other one is child marriage. You have to understand the different laws. And then when, it was in our manifesto to raise the minimum age to 18. When we went into Putrajaya, then we found out, okay, there are different laws for different girls. You have Muslim girl, non-Muslim girls, you have customary marriages, Sabah and Sarawak, then you have Orang Asli. Okay, how do we then tackle all these different authorities? Who can we engage? And so that took time, right? And then 2020 came, January. That was the year we said, okay, we are more ready now. We have more information. We have a bit of experience now. We're going to roll out. And then Sheraton move happened in February. So that's how, the timeline
Yeah.
was for us. We came in July. We had about 1 year to understand all these things. 2019, everything started, engine started, and then this Sheraton move happened. So it's very unfortunate, but I think, all is not lost. There's experiences gained in that 22 months, and it has helped us actually now to be greater opposition, better opposition, because we are more informed. We understand the process in Putrajaya. We know exactly which area I need to look at, which area I need to scrutinize when budget comes. So I still think Malaysia still has something to gain out of this experience. Yeah.
Now, thanks for sharing that. I used to work for the government for 3 years, Ministry of Youth and Sports. And after that, I left the ministry because of the new government. And it's all good, no hard feelings whatsoever. But the joke that my government servant friends and I made, they were making the joke, said, Yala, this government don't know how to write the memos. In hindsight, is there some truth to that? Because writing memos in the government is actually a lot harder than what it looks.
There's a lot of time spent on paper, slides, presentation, documents. Like I say, communication is important to the people outside as to how you spend your time. I find actually civil servants spend a lot of time attending meetings, and I feel that there should be more productivity in how we spend the time. So I actually agree with what Tun Dr. Mahathir did. Tun Dr. Mahathir said he wanted to change the mindset of the civil servants from saya yang menurut perintah to saya melaksanakan amanah. And so, we need to be able, I think, restructure, let the system work on its own. I don't think every single issue you need the minister or the deputy minister in the meeting room. But if we trust our civil servants enough and we get some of the policies right, and we don't make the civil servants engage in activities that waste their time. Preparation for an event when there's a VIP coming consumes so much of their time.
Yes.
It takes 1 week, 2 weeks because of all the protocol that is involved when it's not necessary. So that's why I think civil servants, if we cut out on all the unnecessary events and the meetings, civil servants will have more time to roll out those policies. That's my honest feedback. Yeah.
No, that's good. And one final question before I pass it back to Hannah. Since you brought up Tun Dr. Mahathir, in your opinion, during that time, upon reflection, was your government united?
Um, were we united to a certain extent? I think it was. In fact, the thing that we didn't expect to happen was that betrayal was going to come from within the cabinet. I think at that time, I remember the discussion was on deep state. Everybody talked about deep state. There's deep state involved. That means they say, oh, civil servants are going to sabotage us. Be careful, you're going to decide something in the meeting room, but then the execution outside will be totally different. And so everybody is looking for this deep state that is outside, without knowing that within the cabinet, ministers from that table are going to be betrayed too. And so I remember Saifuddin Abdullah was the one talking so much about deep state, but he was unfortunately one of those who hopped to the other side and formed the government. And so for us, it was really about, not so much about unity, I think, and well, I expect politics to be nasty, but I just found it even difficult to deal with betrayal. I mean, from your own teammates. No, let's not talk about unity. Sometimes you don't have to have absolute unity, right, to do something. But betrayal is the other spectrum, the other end, is the other extreme. So a lot of us are still digesting that. And today, I think when you have 50-50, government is not too strong. Opposition is also not strong enough to be government. So you have this momentum now in parliament, which I feel is a good thing for Malaysia because no one is strong enough on their own. And so the check and balance then is required. There is competition. Every time there's competition, it can only mean one thing: the people will benefit.
Right. And sorry, one more question. Sorry, Na. One more question. Did you enjoy, YB, did you enjoy working under Tun's leadership?
I didn't have a lot of dealings with Tun because my immediate boss was Dr. Wan Aziza,
Mhm.
and Dr. Wan Aziza was the Deputy Prime Minister at that time. So I really enjoyed working with Dr. Wan Aziza because I think we have the same passion. And, she's a mother, she's a grandmother also, and we really care a lot for the children. And so when it is an issue concerning children and their rights and their interests, it takes center stage in the ministry because we feel that this is the vulnerable group. This is our asset. We have to protect them. We have to do something. And so every time, I didn't have to sit there and try to convince my boss that children are important. It was
That's
easy
Right.
nice.
from day one that my boss feels equally passionate about children issues. So in that sense, I think it was a very pleasant working experience for me with the Deputy Prime Minister and also the Women Minister at the time.
Nice. Na?
Okey, YB, bila saya dengarkan cerita YB kan tentang betapa renyahnya dan complicatednya untuk kita ni menyelusuri sesuatu perkara dalam apa ni, dalam kementerian dan juga ada pula betray dalam politik dan sebagainya. Kadang-kadang kita ni yang kalau kita tak ada pegangan yang kukuh, kita akan jadi rasa down dan cepat bitter macam YB cakap tu kan. But saya selalu intrigued and fascinated because YB is actually a person of faith, and you're very spiritually connected. How do you see that the faith and spirituality dalam diri YB itu membantu YB untuk melaksanakan kerja YB dengan lebih baik?
Okay, so these are some of the perkara kan yang saya kena memahami sebelum saya masuk politik, and selepas saya masuk politik tu, I must be very clear about my tanggungjawab lah. Mandat itu saya dapat daripada semua penduduk beragama yang berlainan. Jadi mandat saya bukan datang daripada gereja. Mandat saya tak datang daripada my how do I say my pastor, tapi from semua penduduk. Itu sebab saya mesti melaksanakan tanggungjawab saya dengan adil dan saksama lah kepada semua yang telah mengundi saya. Jadi saya sangat clear, pejabat saya tu saya bantu semua orang, tapi my faith is a personal thing for me. Okay, so it's personal but it helps me in my work. So two things yang paling banyak membantu saya adalah isu rasuah. Isu rasuah ni kalau dalam guidelines, garis panduan semua, dia ada grey area di mana kemungkinan kalau saya ambil duit tak ada orang akan nampak. Tapi keimanan saya, my faith will tell me that walaupun tak ada orang nampak, Tuhan nampak. Jadi jangan sentuh duit itu. So it really helps me pastikan tangan saya ni bersih. Jangan sentuh, curi duit rakyat, kerana walaupun saya terlepas daripada tangan manusia, tangan Tuhan akan menghukum nantilah. So that's one. It helps me to be consistent private dengan public life saya. Okay. Yang keduanya adalah love for people. In politics ni, kita kena banyak berinteraksi dengan orang, turun padang, pergi melawat, isu kebajikan, isu kanak-kanak, isu kewarganegaraan. Semua ni bukan pasal undi sahaja. There must be at least, there must be a real genuine love for people. Kalau kita nak betul-betul buat reform lah, betul-betul berkhidmat untuk orang. Jadi kalau saya tak ada, iman saya tak kukuh, saya akan menjalani kehidupan saya hanya untuk diri sendiri. I live for myself. But because of my faith, it helps me to stop focusing on myself and start living for others. There must be a greater purpose as to why I do politics lah. So these are some of the basic things, how to love God and also to love my neighbors as I love myself. So my faith has definitely helped me to understand and to be consistent in good times and in bad times.
YB, jawapan yang cukup jelas dan tepat lah bagi saya. Saya sangat berpuas hati dengan jawapan YB tersebut. Okey, YB merupakan seorang yang duduk di Subang. Subang Rian lah kata orang kan, dan sebagai seorang produk daripada sekolah kebangsaan kan. Apa yang YB lihat telah pun YB pelajari dengan lebih baik daripada sekolah kebangsaan, dan perubahan fasa sekolah dulu dengan sekarang, apa yang boleh kita tambah baik sebenarnya untuk mengukuhkan lagi unity dan juga memberikan silibus yang terbaik untuk pendidikan anak-anak kita, YB?
Pada masa saya di sekolah kebangsaan, saya masa itu ada banyak peluang untuk menceburi bidang kepimpinan. kita ada prefects camp, kita ada Yeoh club, kita ada banyak aktiviti antara sekolah juga, kita ada banyak aktiviti seperti itu. Tetapi kalau kita lihat sekarang, pergaulan antara orang muda, kanak-kanak sekarang ini, dia lebih bersikap berperkauman kerana ada ramai yang telah keluar. Saya ingat lagi satu insiden di mana bulan puasa, lebih kurang 10 tahun yang lalu kalau tak silap, ada satu sekolah bulan puasa, kemudian budak yang tidak beragama Islam diminta untuk makan dalam bilik
Makan di tandas.
bersalin kan,
Tandas kan?
bilik salin baju ke macam mana. So that incident, I remember that incident was the turning point. Ramai ibu bapa kemudian keluarkan anak mereka daripada sekolah kebangsaan dan masuk sekolah private. Okay, jadi saya rasa insiden tersebut, kalau kementerian ataupun ahli-ahli politik, pemimpin tak handle dengan baik, message itu tak sampai kepada orang bahawa kita sepatutnya tak ada sikap toleransi seperti ini, isu-isu perkauman seperti ini, orang akan keluar daripada sistem tersebut walaupun sistem itu bagus, sekolah kebangsaan. Jadi sekarang kalau kita lihat, dulu masa saya di sekolah, mungkin 10% pelajar di private school ataupun international school. Tetapi kalau kita lihat sekarang ini di Klang Valley, kebanyakan sudah masuk private school. Okay, jadi saya rasa jurang ini sangat besar sekarang dan gap ini kita kena tutup. Untuk kita tutup gap ini, kita mesti meyakinkan orang lagi dengan sistem di sekolah kerajaan dan pastikan kita bina balik mutu dan kualiti supaya orang rasa okeylah, saya yakin dan saya akan hantar anak balik kepada sekolah kebangsaan. Okey, jadi solution bukan pergi tutup sekolah-sekolah yang lain. The solution is you must work on building the quality of your government school so that people will come back. That is important. Jangan pergi tutup semua kompetitor punya sekolah. You should build up and work on your own branding. Yeah.
Betul, saya setuju. Then over to you.
Great. No, I've only got a few more questions now before we get to tail end, because this has been a solid interview. One thing I know about
Exactly.
YB Hannah is that you don't like to waste time, and I just want to tell this story to. I want to tell this story to everybody because like this is how I first met YB Hannah. Like it was at a Chinese New Year open house. I was the MC, and I remember the first interaction I had with YB was like, "Hey, don't announce my name coming in." And it's very consistent to what you said just now, YB. Like, don't waste time with all this events protocol and all these traditional formats. Just let's get it done. Let's come in. Let's celebrate Chinese New Year so people can enjoy what is the event, which is Chinese New Year. So I thought that was fantastic. So
Ben, I want to tell you why. You know why that happened to me? Because of my background in event management. I was serving. I had to make sure, that they wanted to come. They wanted official attire. They wanted to make sure that the ball they kick for the opening gimmick is an original ball. But then when they actually kick the ball, the ball can't even fly. And so I had to deal with all these antics of VIPs. And so when I became a VIP myself for events, I have to tell myself, make sure two things. If the event, you have children and senior citizens, please make sure you are on time, punctual, do not make them wait. Because it's very cruel if it's outdoor, kids are waiting in the hot sun for a VIP to come. And so I think that's my message to young people. Every work experience you have, no matter how simple it is or how tedious it is, right? It's going to help you become a better person in your next job. And so my experience in event management helped me to become a more responsible politician today.
Nice. Well said. Respect and salute. But I've got 3 more questions for you, but I'm going to amalgamate it into 2 questions. But
Lepas tu saya pula.
I do apologize if I'm going to be a bit long-winded. But in terms of, can you tell us, when I say ask the viewers out there tonight, that now that you're opposition, what kind of change are you trying to bring to the system? And the second part of that question is, can you tell us a timeline of that change? Because the evolution of the next 2 years on people's mind is, when is the next general election? Because the next general election, in terms of implementing change, it has a husband, like a boyfriend, side-by-side relationship next to it, if you know what I mean. So please.
I think for myself, I have recognized the fact that on my own, I cannot change Malaysia, but I can help raise the standard. And so if every MP raises a standard, a new standard in politics for others to follow, and then I believe that politics will have a better, better quality reps. You have better accountability structure. So it's really up to me to raise the standard. So I'm always thinking and processing, even though I'm out of Putrajaya, even though we were in lockdown, what can I do in Segambut that will push the standard to a new level among the MPs? And so, if I rajin turun kawasan, that will probably put some pressure on other MPs to have to also show face. So we are constantly thinking, okay, if I declare my asset, maybe others would be pressured. If I declare how I spend my allocation, then others would be pressured. So in politics, you may not be able to change the entire system, but you can raise standard. And so for every woman who is watching this show, you may be alone in your corporation, you may be alone in the institution that you're working in, but if you raise the standard for yourself, others will be pressured and compelled to follow. And so I really believe if we all Malaysians, if we raise a new standard, I think Malaysia will be rebuilt on a better platform. And so we don't settle for status quo, maybe number two is not good enough. We have to constantly push ourselves to do better. So I feel that's our role. That's my role in politics. I may be one out of the 33 reps. I'm only one out of the 14%. But if I raise the new standard, the 80% will have to follow. Yeah.
Nice. And in terms of when do you think the general election will happen next year or the year after, or I mean,
Oh, I think everything will depend on Malacca and Sarawak elections, the outcome. I feel that in Malacca, if Perikatan Nasional, if they do badly, they are unlikely to call for elections in the next few months. But we have a memorandum of understanding signed between the opposition and the government, and in there we wanted COVID to recover, and we are looking at even the earliest date should be July 2022. And so when you have an MOU in place at the federal level, and then UMNO did this to their own state government in Malacca, I just cannot brain it. I cannot understand why you would want a moratorium at the national level to say, let us focus on working together, let us focus on beating COVID, and then suddenly you're going to do this in Malacca. Yeah, so it must be so confusing for the people who are following political news, I'm sure.
yeah, it is a bit.
It is to me.
It is to us. Yeah.
Betul.
Yeah.
Betul. Kalau YB lihat dengan pola dan juga pattern sekarang ini kan, bagaimanakah kebarangkalian opposition untuk memenangi kembali hati rakyat pada next general election? Sebab kalau kita lihat, baik opposition maupun perikatan, mereka ni tidak ada satu union yang kukuh pun sebenarnya antara satu sama lain.
Okay. Kalau kita lihat trend politik sejak 2018, sekarang ini adalah coalition politics. Bermaksud tak ada satu parti yang kuat sehingga dia boleh menang semua kerusi, tak perlu kawan-kawan yang lain. Jadi sekarang ini kita kalau lihat semua parti, kita perlukan kawan-kawan yang lain lah dalam coalition. So unity sangat-sangat penting, dan kita lihat sekarang ini saya rasa untuk pembangkang, kalau kita solid, united, kita ada harapan untuk menang. Kerana yang saya tahu, Perikatan Nasional memang tak ada unity sekarang. Sampai hari ini kita tak tahu kerajaan ini Barisan Nasional ataupun Perikatan Nasional. Dan kenapa UMNO lawan Ketua Menteri UMNO sendiri di Melaka. So semua orang pun tak tahu. Jadi saya rasa if we stay united, it's for us to gain. Yeah.
Okey, satu lagi saya nak tanya kan, berkenaan dengan kata orang dari segi gap umur lah kan. Bagaimana YB melihat kan barisan-barisan representation orang muda dalam politik ini akan lebih lagi menambat hati pengundi yang akan datang berbanding dengan yang senior ni?
Saya rasa sebenarnya faktor umur itu tak begitu penting dalam politik. Tapi faktor kita relevan kepada rakyat. Kenapa orang marah dengan ahli-ahli politik yang sudah tua-tua dalam parti lah ya, in parlimen, kerana saya rasa selepas kita dah berpengalaman, kita dah banyak tahun di parlimen, kita dah senior-senior, kita rasa wah, saya ni betul, orang lain semua tak betul. Saya tahu bagaimana nak menang election, orang muda semua tak tahu. Saya faham cara pengundi saya berfikir. So you make assumption. You assume that this is what your rakyat want. Actually, the rakyat have already moved on, right? And so kalau kita anggap rakyat ini bodoh, you are not going to reform now. You're not going to change because you always assume that their votes are for you. You assume that they are your fixed deposit. But people have moved on. And with social media sekarang, I mean, it's very hard. If you don't work hard and you come up against people like Syed Saddiq, you will lose an election because he is there every day on his social media engaging his voters. So a
Yeah.
senior will be forced to change. If you don't change, you will lose out. So saya tak kata semua orang muda adalah betul. Ada orang muda yang juga angkuh, ada orang muda yang juga not very wise, ada orang
Yeah.
muda yang juga not very mature. But
Yeah.
in politics, I feel it's important to have both the young and the old to be in parliament together. Where the old people lack passion and new ideas, the young people can make up. Where the young people lack maturity or experience, the old people are there. So you need to find that balance.
Ya, tapi sinergi tu ada ke tidak sekarang? Ada ke kita nampak sinergi tu?
Untuk pembangkang adalah. Untuk pembangkang, kita ada ramai wanita yang kita juga ada ramai ahli parlimen yang muda. Tetapi kalau kita lihat barisan di sebelah sana, cuba carikan orang yang muda. Saya rasa Khairi mungkin paling muda.
Okay, that's coming from you, YB. So,
Thank you, YB. And YB, I mean, if you look at the poster of this interview, Women of Change, we believe at Great People TV, women are the change.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, in your opinion, will Malaysia ever have a female prime minister?
I think it can happen one day, but I don't know when it will happen. I think we have come quite close to it in 2018. We have the first woman deputy prime minister, and it's for us now, I think, to continue to imagine that women have the right to come to the table. Women have the right to be at least, talk about as those potential candidates to lead. I think it's only a matter of time.
Nice, nice. In your head, in your dream, when is this date gonna happen? I mean, in your dream, 2030, 2028.
Well, I say if it happened in 2018, then we're not too far away from it happening again. But there's one thing I think Malaysians have really experienced in 2018. The belief that your vote, the people's vote can actually change government, that perception is already a reality in the mind of the voters. So, if you look at 2018, you are able to turn around a 60-year-old government. You can do it again. And so I think the change has already come upon the people. The people realize it. And that's why, 2019, 2020, 2021, in 3 years, we have 3 prime ministers. So we are now very used to the idea of change. So never forget that, Malaysians. Yeah.
Yeah. And one final question to wrap this great interview up, YB. What's your sharing that you wish to share with young teenage girls, children as young as our children, fresh graduates, managers, general managers, women? What's your advice to those females to be the change? Not now, not just now, but forever.
I want to tell the girls and the ladies who are listening, sometimes in life we make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes will cost us a lot. So I want to speak to teenagers who find themselves pregnant without any support. They don't know where to turn the baby to. They a lot of people resort to baby dumping. So I want our government to provide the infrastructure to support girls, to let the young people know that if you make mistake at the age of 17, you should not be penalized for the rest of your life. There is plenty of opportunity for you to turn over. There must be a new season that will come. The government must facilitate this opportunity for people to get it right again, and to help them. We should not be punishing our young people. So that's what I want to see. I want to see a less judgmental society in Malaysia. Don't be so fast to throw the stones. But we should understand. That's one thing I really understand from my time in the women ministry. When I listen to social problems, when I listen to a 14-year-old girl becoming pregnant, I always want to ask, what is the family like? What has happened? How
Mm.
come this child grew up without a father? Why did this child, why was she left alone at home? Where is the support structure for this child? So remember, don't be so quick to judge our people. Be a more forgiving, I think, society. Be more gracious, extend grace. Yeah.
Super, super nice. I think I feel taller right now, nah? What do you think?
Betul. Saya rasa sebenarnya kami di Great People TV dan juga penonton, saya rasa rata-rata berpuas hati dan setuju dengan apa jawapan yang diutarakan oleh YB sebentar tadi. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. It's been a great session actually and very
No, it's
inspiring, to be honest.
short, punchy. I think I got to look at the
Kan?
numbers very shortly, but it's a record of the time that we've spent with the guests because YB, I think I told you and Amanda that I don't like to go on and on and on and on with these live stream sessions, and we've achieved our goal. So thank you so much for making it punchy,
Yeah.
for making it informative, for making it educational, and for most of all, for making it inspirational because with what you've shared with us today, your authentic answers, we are very confident that you are the change and you and a group of people out there can be the change for a better Malaysia and a better globe that we live in. So thank you so much,
Setuju.
YB. And
Thanks, Ben and Hannah. Yeah, thanks for having me.
in safer times, we'll
Terima
catch up.
kasih
Yeah.
YB.
See
Thanks.
ya. Bye.
Bye. Itu tadi YB Hannah Yeoh cakap untuk Great People TV. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Satu interview yang saya rasa cukup memberikan inspirasi kepada semua kan, Ben?
No, I totally agree. Now that was super inspirational. Inspirational. I've got my
And
tongue slipping right.
straightforward. Ba, ba, ba,
Super
ba.
straightforward. It was just pum 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 pum. I said, wow. Not around the Mulberry Bush or the Shah Alam roundabout or the Subang roundabout or any roundabout for that matter. So
Aduh,
yeah,
Ina.
it was great. So everyone, don't forget, you do stand a chance to win a giveaway prize by AQ
IQ
Answer,
answer.
our sponsor. So please
Betul.
participate in the contest, and we will share that with you very shortly. But the responses that and the feedback that we've gotten about Great People TV thus far has been very, very positive. Don't forget to please
Alhamdulillah.
press follow and share and like, and then we will get there as well. So, yep, all good right there. So, we have a question for you for the giveaway question. What did YB Hannah study at university? Here's a tip. She said it at the top of the show tonight. Now,
Betul. Soalannya, apakah yang YB belajar ketika berada di universiti? Apakah program yang diambil oleh YB Hana ketika di universiti? Jadi dia punya clue ada dekat pada awal-awal kita punya interview tu.
at the top of the show. So please participate, and then you will stand a chance to win prize. And also, don't forget for AccuAnswer, please go to the AccuAnswer page, and all the respective pages, and just follow the steps right there. And then step 1, 2, 3 on your phone, follow the Instagram, follow the Facebook, follow all the social media applications, and then you stand a chance to win a cash voucher. Okay,
Betul.
can you
Ikuti
explain
saja
that?
langkah-langkah mudah yang ditunjukkan oleh AccuAnswer. Langkah 1, 2 dan 3 dan anda berpeluang untuk memenangi cash voucher daripada AccuAnswer. So, apa tunggu lagi? Jawablah dan buatlah sekarang.
So that is the end of our show. So thank you
Ya.
everybody for watching. And thank you again, YB, for coming in and tuning in to be with us just now. She's off air right now, but we look forward to catching up with her in the future because she is a person of inspiration. But on behalf of Hannah, myself, Ben Ibrahim, and everybody here at Great People TV, including our guest YB Hannah Yo, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode next week. Great People TV, tune in or log in and watch with us. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Assalamualaikum.